Howdy, howdy.
Howdy.
And welcome to But It Was Aliens, the extraterrestrial comedy podcast where we probe paranormal events, usually of the extraterrestrial variety, to determine whether they really did involve aliens at all, because the world sits on a fountain of lies. We take it in turns to host, and the co-host has no idea what's coming up each week. I'm hosting this week, and if you don't know me, my name is Kev. Alongside me, as always, is Mr. Granville Moonwalker. And this week, we are off to New Jersey in northeastern USA. New Jersey is home to the Garden State, the origin of cheerleading, the first ever baseball game, and the first ever Miss America pageant. It also has a spoon museum. New Jersey is home to all sorts.
All sorts, it would seem. A spoon museum. Spoons. Pontoon. Spoon.
That sounds like a pretty dull place to go. I'm sorry, Spoon Museum, but...
Unless they have like loads of ice cream where you can test it with all the spoons.
You've just sold it to me. I want to go to the Spoon Museum. If that's a taste and spoon museum, what if it's a different kind of spoon?
Like you go in and you just spoon people.
Or get spooned.
Are you big spoon or little spoon?
Depends who's spooning.
Your little spoon. Hey, little spoon.
Hey, big spoon. Back in 2001, New Jersey was also home to something else. Perhaps even a few something elses. On July the 14th, just after midnight on the Arthur Kill Waterway near Carteret, which is about an hour's drive from Brooklyn. Brooklyn, baby! Drivers on the New Jersey Turnpike looked up. That might strike you as a dangerous thing to do on this busy road, but without reckless drivers, we wouldn't have credible witnesses, so we're going to let that slide today. Seriously though, parts of this road are like Spaghetti Junction, a scene from Wacky Races. If you're on one of these roads, do not look anywhere but the road. Don't do it. Unless, of course, there are aliens. Then look up and tell us about it, but also don't look up. Don't do it under any circumstances. When the drivers looked up, what the many drivers saw blew their minds. Hundreds of calls flooded into the local police station, and by hundreds, I mean at least 12. Chaos!
Ooh. So, Greybeard has put a picture of what I'm assuming is the New Jersey Turnpike in for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say, do you reckon this is what Toad's Turnpike from Mario Kart 64 was based upon?
Possibly, yeah, actually.
I wouldn't have a clue, I'm just going off of the name.
Don't do the 150cc, that shit is stressful.
Give you shit. Did anyone crash, or were they in heavy traffic? That's why they were able to look up. Or do you reckon passengers in these vehicles spotted it first and then notified the drivers?
We are going to cover this. Do you think a potential sighting would lead to crashes?
I don't know, because...
It's hard to, yeah.
Would you try and turn off onto a safe part of the road and then look up?
I'm trying to think, and movies obviously aren't real life, so this is probably quite a poor place for my mind to go, but I'm thinking when the alien ship first appears on Independence Day, people mostly pull over at the side of the road.
Or they stop.
And then they get out, like literally places you wouldn't usually park, but everyone's pulled on the side of the road on a motorway, just stood there looking up. That's kind of what I foresee. But I suppose it also depends on the type of UFO, if that is the case.
Absolutely.
If it is a huge mothership-esque looking thing, people are probably going to do that. If it's Phoenix Light style, perhaps not.
True. Depends on the size of the craft.
So I guess, yeah, what I'm saying is the more people that pull over and look, the more convincing it's going to be.
Yeah. I suppose if you see a car pull over and then like loads of cars start to pull over and look up, you're more likely to do that than like anything. But you could also go free road, baby, and just drive to your destination.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll just add here that ABC News reported this one to be the 19th of July 2001, but most other sources list the 14th. Anyway, in the chaos, 75 cars pulled over at the side of the road, got out of their vehicles and just looked up in wonder, like a scene from Independence Day.
I have a question.
Yes?
How does a car pull over and get out of itself?
Alright, you knew what I meant. They're Transformers, obviously. So yeah, scene like Independence Day, except that it was silent. Eerily silent. The onlookers' jaws gaped open as orange and yellow lights moved through the sky above them. These were absolutely not stars, and indeed, the lights appeared to be in a V formation. You could have walked past these folks, slapped their butts, took their phones out of their pockets, took a selfie and popped the phones back in. Nothing. Poured milk in their shoes. Nothing. The lights gradually moved through the sky in formation at a slow speed.
How many lights were there?
There were lights. Lots of them.
The reason I ask, could this be a flock of geese or ducks
No.
that have had lights attached to them,
I want to say there were at
flying
least
in
6.
a V formation? That's normally like avian behavior, flying south, migrating.
So I've said V formation. It's a pretty rough V formation. It's not quite bird-like, and we'll get into this a little bit later. But like I say, I'm going off memory of some evidence that I've seen. We're talking at least 6, possibly more.
Not even bird-like formation is strictly a V. It's V-like. Roughly V.
Right.
So, still could be birds with lights on them.
Birds carrying lights.
Christmas birds.
What's a Christmas bird? A turkey?
Well, a bird with like Christmas lights on it and a Christmas jumper.
Who would put lights on a Christmas?
People are crazy, yo.
Yeah, to be fair. Could you remember when we were very, very young and we once found an injured bird in a park, and we took it and went to take it to a vet's. Obviously the vet's was closed because this was about 8 o'clock in the evening. We tried to put it through the vet's window so that they would sort it in the morning. The vet's windows were all closed and locked. Next door there was a butcher's.
Yes, I do.
And so we definitely didn't post it through the butcher's, thinking that would be a good idea because they would take it to the vets next door when they came downstairs. Children. That's definitely not true, folks.
Definitely not. Allegedly.
Truthfully. There were witnesses far and wide, not just on the turnpike. People in Staten Island and on the George Washington Bridge in New Jersey also saw the lights.
God damn.
As they did.
It's got far.
Witnesses described a feeling of serenity. Suddenly, nothing in the world mattered. All was calm. As reported by ABC News, Paulette Holmes said that it was peaceful. Patty Ercolino described the feeling as very serene and beautiful. This was like some kind of cult experience. Hundreds of people stood there watching and nothing else in the world mattered. In that moment, everything was all right.
All right.
All right.
Baby. Keep
Oh,
on rolling.
yeah.
Do you think everything was peaceful because they kind of thought in that moment the world was going to end? Or they just
That's
felt...
an interesting question. I suppose if you were to see something extraterrestrial in the sky, at that point you're probably going to be feeling two emotions, either utter panic like, oh shit, or
Fight or flight,
acceptance, like there's nothing we can do. It's all right.
Or do you reckon it was just an
all right.
enchanting pattern? Like when you watch
like watching
birds fly over, you
Spirograph
just
in the
kind
sky.
of look up and you're like,
I don't do
watch
that.
them.
If I see a bunch of birds in the sky, I'm looking for cover because I don't want to get pooped on. Whoever decided that it was lucky to be pooped on was full of shit. Probably bird shit.
Isn't it only if it poops on like the left-hand side or something?
I don't know. I shouldn't say this out loud, but I've never been pooped on by a bird, to my recollection.
You're going to get pooped on.
Yeah, like I said, I shouldn't have said that. But I have jumped and rolled in bird poop.
That's not the same thing. You're
No.
going to be walking along with a coffee and then just you're about to take a sip. Plop.
Right, in the coffee.
Right.
Ruins my coffee and splashes my coffee on me. I would be
Or
so upset.
If you have a lid, it's going to land just as you take a sip.
Hitting the lip. Isn't there a famous football/soccer clip of someone having
Ashley
a
Young.
bird poo hit them in the
It
mouth?
was Ashley Young, yeah.
That's so unlucky. Don't tell me that's lucky. That is the worst luck you could ever experience. Having your mouth open at the exact angle at the exact time that a bird poo is crossing. What are the chances? Veronica Bagley's family caught the event on video. Yes, we have some video. You'll hear statements from some of the witnesses I mentioned earlier in the following news reports, which we'll link to in the episode notes. Check these out, Mr. Moonwalker.
Checking them out in just a second. Here we go.
Sunday morning, hundreds of people reported seeing more than a dozen bright yellow or orange lights moving across the stars. Carteret police saw them too. Nobody knows what they were, although some have some interesting theories about visitors from outer space. Apparently, they were not space junk or meteors. NASA officials say the U.S. Space Command reported no large objects re-entering the atmosphere yesterday.
That is a rough V, and they're not really moving.
These lights you're looking at in the sky.
Oh, they are getting closer together.
Lights in the sky over New Jersey. Many people have come forward to say they saw flickering golden lights over Arthur Kill near Carteret last night. The police have been unable to identify the source, and Newark airport officials say there were no unusual flight patterns in the area at the time. 911 got dozens of calls, eyewitnesses to report the bizarre orange flares in the sky.
I wasn't alarmed, but in any case, because...
I mean, were you watching the whole thing, or we done there?
It was peaceful. Very peaceful, very serene, very beautiful. And
I can't remember how long it was.
It's like 2 minutes.
Let's watch it.
Now the whole thing has others absolutely
Okay.
baffled.
I mean, these lights are literally 5 or 6 lights that are just up in the air. They're not really moving along.
More than a dozen, in fact, I believe they said.
flying in a V formation, and you know my theory. Birds with flashlights.
Boom, baby!
Birds with flashlights.
The airport said they weren't airplanes.
There we go.
You need to make contact with that reporter because that's like your soulmate there.
Last weekend, about 16 lights floated over the Arthur Kill.
There we go,
for
16.
5 minutes. The lights stopping traffic on a turnpike is...
I mean,
if they might be, well, UFOs. Well, News Channel 4
they could just be sky lanterns.
NASA. The space agency tells us those
Right.
lights were not space debris. They were not meteorites. Instead, NASA said they had every appearance of being airborne flares, maybe released by a National Guard unit or as a prank from a private plane.
That's reassuring.
But there were no flight patterns in the area, so how could it have been a plane?
Birds with flashlights, son. Birds with flashlights. Or lanterns, now that I see them. I kind of expected them to be moving across the sky.
Yeah,
They're not, they're quite stationary, so
I don't
lanterns.
think they were lanterns at this point. I'd be more inclined to go flares just because of the nature of the formation and how they moved. Lanterns tend to all get blown away. They don't stick in a formation like that.
They could have just been quite high up, so they didn't really blow off. We'll carry on.
Sorry, I started laughing because you said blow off. Not heard that term for years. I loved the voice of the reporter. That's such a old school, well, I'm a news reporter. That was a terrible impression, I goddammit. Don't really know what happened there.
Awful.
Yeah, can you do it?
No.
Damn it.
Witnesses included Lieutenant Daniel Tarrant of the Carteret Police Department and his partner.
Yeah. Wasn't much better. Being a man of law, the lieutenant was a logical man. Surely an honourable and trustworthy man. Lieutenant Tarrant, with his honourable voice, would say of the event, "I saw 16 gold and orange coloured lights, several in a V-type formation." Birds fly in a V formation because a vortex is created by their flapping, meaning that if birds were directly behind each other, they'd be pushed down, but to the side slightly, they get naturally lifted. For aircrafts, uplift from wingtips could improve fuel efficiency. 16 lights. 16
birds.
lights. That's either a big craft or lots of crafts.
Birds.
Another witness, Joe Malvasio, simply described it as amazing. 15 minutes after they started, with a slight burst of light, the lights vanished into the night sky. Just like that, the extraterrestrial activity was gone, never to be seen again. Folks picked their jaws up off the floor, got back into their cars, and went about the rest of their night. 15 minutes late for whatever that they had planned. May I remind you that this was just after midnight. It's said, by me, that a lot of booty calls were missed.
A lot of booty calls were missed because of birds with flashlights.
You can't honestly believe that's the explanation
How do
for
you
this
explain
one.
that to a booty call? I'm sorry. I was watching the birds.
A bird flashed me. That's not something you want to be saying to your potential partner. Sorry, a bird flashed me, so I stood there for 15 minutes gawping.
Logical.
Illogical. You and that news reporter are on your own little planet together. With all of this going on, all of these reports of objects in the sky, what did air traffic control do? Obviously, they denied this shit. Air traffic control at nearby Newark International Airport stated that there were no planes, jets, or space activity in the area. For them, there was nothing in the sky. No explanation was offered at all. As you may have noted yourselves, comparisons have been drawn between this event and the March 1997 Phoenix Lights, some of which, as you may well recall, were also a V-shape and reportedly didn't appear on radar. However, the New York Strange Phenomena Investigators, otherwise known as the NYSPI, Nice Spy, with my little eye, confirmed that they had received Federal Aviation Administration, aka FAR, radar data from Newark International Airport indicating that an enormous number of objects were in the skies between 10:31 p.m. and 12:51 a.m. that night, contrary to what air traffic control had said. National Weather Service Meteorology, meanwhile, confirmed that there was no explanation for this that could be attributed to the weather or meteors, for example. So, we have unexplained radar activity.
Nice by my little eye, sir. So, 2001. Was this... What kind of year was the Phoenix Lights?
We literally just covered it, sir. 1997. You covered that episode yourself.
I did. I thought it was 97, but I was just trying to think how far off the year. So another 4 years. Do you think they were just testing something else? Like the military?
So some sort of... Oh, I nearly spoiled a future episode. No, I didn't. In fact, we covered this on the Calvine episode, didn't we? Potential alleged craft, black triangles and whatnot.
Yeah, we did.
So, yeah.
Triangles,
yeah.
baby!
Yeah. I think if you were creating covert tech of that nature, you probably would fly it over these sorts of areas at night to see if you can get away with it.
Stealth.
Although if you're turning your lights on, that's not very stealthy, is it?
That is true. Stealth, baby.
Looking at other explanations, one of the witnesses just so happened to be the best song in the world. Just so happened to be a veteran and is said to have looked at the lights using night vision glasses with a rangefinder. The grizzled vet reported to Colm Kelleher of the National Institute of Discovery Science that the Turnpike Lights were only 1,800 feet high in the air. That should be close enough to be able to see the outline of a craft, but no outline was reported by any of the witnesses. Cloaking can't really be an explanation for this, as people did see the lights. The same vet also stated that he saw smoke after the lights had disappeared. That then sounds suspiciously like military flares, which is of course also an alternative explanation for the Phoenix Lights. However, for you conspiracy-loving bastards out there, the only person saying this is a veteran, an ex-military man. Just the kind of person the military would use to debunk sightings.
It depends what kind of vet he is. Is he a true veteran or is he a grizzled old vet?
He's a grizzled old vet. He's a grizzled old vet. He's seen some shit that'll never forget.
I mean, if he saw smoke after the lights, then that would explain a flare.
Unless it's exhaust fumes.
But also, I suppose it would depend. How long were these lights in the sky for before they went?
We literally said this a few minutes ago.
Yeah, can't remember that. Because I suppose if the flares were dropped from a height, it would just take a while for them to fizzle out.
It was 15 minutes.
I don't really know how long a flare lasts.
Good question.
Especially a minute, like a aircraft flare.
A flare is unpredictable and may start suddenly. It can last for hours, days, or weeks. Intriguing. That's not 15 minutes, is it?
No. However, what about a shit flare?
What? Woo! One woo and it's gone. That gives some context, doesn't it? Some interesting counter argument. Sadly, going back to your earlier point that I batted away, sky lanterns.
Birds with
No, not that one. Sky lanterns do last sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes, although obviously the weather can change that significantly.
And they would burn out, leaving smoke behind, maybe.
Although they'd also come back down to ground.
Depends on when they burn out. And who's to say they didn't come back down to ground? They just weren't found because the lights went out, so no one bothered to look for them.
Everyone got back in their car and went on that booty call.
Exactly. And missed it.
On the sceptical side, sadly, I couldn't find an actual copy of that FAR radar data. I looked deep inside the internet and it's referenced a lot, but I couldn't find a first-hand copy of it. That is suspicious. Conventional radar has trouble picking up objects less than a couple of meters long, and also picking them out from background clutter like birds and bugs. Meanwhile, on a similar but unrelated note, two folks set off a bunch of flares attached to helium balloons in New Jersey on January the 5th, 2009 to experiment with the world's reactions to UFOs. Basically, they wanted to prove that UFO investigators and the media were easy to mess with. On April Fool's Day, two chaps revealed the hoax, having captured it all on video, and the police got wind of it. The men were charged, receiving fines of $250 and 50 hours of community service each. I've just popped an image here of their hoax for you, Mr. Moonwalker. For our listeners, this is basically a bunch of faint red lights in the night sky over quite a large area.
I mean, if I saw that, the last thing I'm thinking is that is a group of UFOs. I'm thinking there's a giant predator on the loose.
Giant predator?
Yep.
Because of the red laser
That's
light.
a predator targeting beam.
What are they targeting?
I don't know. Another predator, maybe?
Birds with flashlights.
Predator Wars.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the Turnpike Lights were a hoax too, but what I am saying is that they could have been misidentified flares, perhaps even of a military origin, which would explain the secretiveness. But why would the military do that?
Indeed. Were they testing something themselves? Birds with flashlights on their heads? Like sharks with frickin' laser beams.
Fricking laser beams. You joke, but I have read articles recently that suggest that the military are taking deceased birds and stuffing them with drone technology, and cameras and whatnot to spy, because birds aren't generally picked up on radar, or they're ignored if they are.
That's quite both horrific.
Taxidermy, son.
Crazy.
The military...
To be honest, I've seen some of those nature programs where they get the
animal
lifelike
cameras. Yeah.
And some of them look pretty real.
Back to your regular watching of David Attenborough.
I've been watching David Attenborough all week. That's a lie. I've been putting David Attenborough on before going to bed and
sleeping to
5 minutes.
His sultry voice.
Indeed. The last thing I heard was, I am David Attenborough and I'm 93 years old. Gone.
This is the American shit weasel. I'm going to take my thumb and jam it right in his butt.
I swear to God, right? Other than family, I think that'll be the saddest day.
Yeah, I don't remember if I've said this before, but I think the saddest day for me so far was when Uncle Phil died from The Fresh Prince. Don't know why, but that one, I still feel emotional talking about it. He was like a father figure to me. That one hit hard when he passed away.
I'm surprised DMX didn't hit hard for you. You were
I really liked
the
DMX.
biggest DMX fan I've ever known.
Yeah. And
But
you liked Tupac.
I did. But Attenborough.
That'll hit everyone.
Attenborough.
Attenborough. I was just going to add
The world's
another...
granddad.
Yeah, absolutely. No one says a bad word about Attenborough, do they?
I'll get fucked
Just-
up if they do. It's like Mr. Conway at school. You don't say a fucking bad word about Mr. Conway.
There was one
Fuck you
teacher
up.
like that in every school, wasn't there? That just everyone loved. They were just nice.
I remember when that year 7, so we were in year 10, and that year 7 gave Mr. Conway some grief. So was walking from one lesson to the other. Year 7 happened to cross my path. Year 7 went flying into a prickle bush.
You haven't changed the bit, sir.
That was by the art studio.
Yes, I
So-
recall.
Here you said this to Mr. Conway.
So what if I did?
In that bush he went. Little shit.
I was just going to revert back and add a point around birds, that the military during World War One did experiment on using birds. I can't remember quite in what way, whether they were putting cameras on them and sending them up,
Cameras in their butts.
or whether it was sensors or radar. I don't remember. I did research it for a previous episode.
You know that that's where the
don't think I
antenna's
actually
coming
covered
out of the button into the tail feather. Cheeky tail feather.
But yeah, they weren't reliable, so the military didn't keep at it. However, zombie pigeons.
We're onto a winner.
But that's actually the case today. So, in summary, we've personally witnessed people witnessing the New Jersey Turnpike Lights. In July 2001, many people witnessed unusual orange and yellow V-shaped lights for about 15 minutes in the sky. The police were inundated with at least 12 calls. Meanwhile, 75 vehicles pulled over on the turnpike. Witnesses included a Lieutenant Tarrant, and many described the events as involving a feeling of inner peace. Newark International Airport Air Traffic Control denied any activity in the sky, be that commercial or military. But the New York Strange Phenomena investigators got hold of Federal Aviation Administration data confirming many bogies in the sky. Allegedly. Truthfully. A veteran just happened to have his night vision goggles on him and confirmed that the objects were about 1,800 feet up, close enough to see a body to the crafts, yet no body was seen by anyone. That far radar data, meanwhile, is pretty hard to get your hands on. We couldn't find it anywhere. All in all, this one sounded like it probably was flares. But we know better than that, don't we, Granville? Don't we, Granville? Alien flares. Roar. Anything you want to go over, sir, before we conclude for our beautiful listeners?
No. I mean, you say flares. Yeah, we all know where I'm going with this.
Pigeons with flashlights.
Birds, not pigeons.
I apologise.
But yeah. Birds with flashlights. It's like the Mighty Ducks. No.
All right,
Flares
so-
or sky lanterns.
Whoa. I'm just going to show you a photo to remind you and help you decide, Moonwalker. Are you saying that it was aliens?
So I have a picture here of what looks like a really bright white light followed by 4 angry birds. They look like the Twitter symbol if it's very, very far away and just at different colours. So, birds with flashlights.
So are you saying that it was aliens?
No, I'm not saying... Why has my chair gone down? I have got lower without realising I've got lower.
You're shrinking.
Ah, damn it. This is not aliens.
I was thinking, why are you looking up to your microphone? Okay.
How did I not know this?
I don't know. I don't know if that's just happened tonight or if it's happened over time.
No, just tonight. Yeah, no. This is most probably sky lanterns or flares.
Yeah.
I'm edging on the side of flares, to be honest. Fired from a plane quite high up.
Okay, well, I'm not saying that it was aliens, but this is an interesting one, and people can be quite spliced/split on it. What makes me suspicious is that the alleged radar data isn't out there. If you have that, you'd get it out, surely. But equally, a damn military vet with range-finding night vision goggles is out there and there's no footage of an interview with them. That also makes me suspicious. That would be the first person you'd speak to. Ultimately, I think that this one was probably sky lanterns tied together with some kind of rope or fishing line. Flares are attached to little parachutes and slowly float back down, but most accounts indicated that these things floated kind of up. Meanwhile, the photos just looked more lantern-like to me. But having said that, it really is an interesting one, and I'm not saying that I couldn't be swayed. But I'm not. Oh shit, maybe I am. No. Like I say, sky lanterns for me. But was there anything you wanted to touch upon before we say goodbye once again, Mr. Moonwalker? Before we climb back into our box together until the next episode?
Hey, little spoon.
Hey, Brick Spoon.
No, that's it. There's nothing else I got.
that is indeed it for today then.
Flashlight birds.
Checkmate, bitch! Thank you for listening to But It Was Aliens. If you don't want it to end, well then, by gosh, it doesn't have to. You can rewind the episode and start it all again. You'll never see what's coming. Or, if you want to hear something different from our extraterrestrial affairs, you can head on over to patreon.com/But It Was Aliens, where each month we complete a side probe into more paranormal events and decide whether they really involved whatever it's been suggested that the cases involved. Be that spookies, mystics, sexual healers, mummy cursors, hypnotic puppies, or horny cryptids. It'll cost you similar to, or in fact less than, a large cup of coffee. And we take that money, we actually buy coffee with it and pour it into the moat of coffee that surrounds extraterrestrial towers. Then I kind of just swim in it, naked, and get psyched up for the next episode. You could also donate coffee to us. I'll snort it. Granville will probably try and lift it, so better not weigh more than 8 kilograms, folks. Speaking of the towers, from our But It Was Aliens Facebook page, you can find the attached private public group where all and also nobody is welcome, also called Extraterrestrial Towers. There, we may talk about the episodes or just post paranormal memes and jokes. It's a peaceful group where we prepare for the upcoming alien wars, if you can get past that coffee moat. Anyway, if you have any suggestions for the show, then you can probe us on the Twitter, at But It Was Aliens. That's about all I have to say today, so until next time, do scorpions consider lobsters to be mermaids? The truth is up there. #proba.
Are scorpions and lobsters related? Maybe. I mean, a scorpion is just a lobster with a butt sword.
Mer-scorpion.
Merpion.